Welcome to our conversation today. How are you doing? Hope you're doing good. So I've been watching a lot of stories about the late Odukoya and Pastor Jimmy taking over from his father in the ministry, and it's been an interesting look of things that I'm seeing happening on social media. So I want to discuss that. But before we get on to that, rest in peace to Mohbad. A lot of things have been going on about his well, bringing justice. I've also heard about the idea of exhuming his body and doing coroner's inquest. Also, recently as well, like we are talking about in this video, is the demise of the father of Jimmy, Pastor Jimmy Odukoya, which has raised a lot of concerns on social media. And if you have been following me over time in our discussions right here about things that happen in church, I've talked about this before when it comes to the one-man ministry, or would I say most especially the Pentecostal ministry, whereby it's more of like the general overseers that get to run ministries and they have other branch pastors and all that. To a great extent, it's more of like a family, I wouldn't say family business. Now listen, because come on, the business of my father. Jesus was going about the business of his father. So it depends on if you want to look at it as business based on what you understand as business, or if you want to look at it as based on the spiritual business, you understand. But either way, when I say family business here, it's more of like means whereby where a founder of a particular church gets to pass down the legacy of his church, or would I say the control or leadership of his church, to either his children, his child, or to the wife. But either ways, it stays in the family and doesn't leave the family. All those kind of ministries as well, you see them with the name of the main person that is a general overseer. And some of you as well, most times when I talk about these things, it's not really about the members, the followers who love the main figurehead. Because recently I posted on my Twitter handle and said this, and I was trying to make people understand that when it comes to, especially social media, you see, one thing like I always told you guys on my platform here is that attention is currency. So the attention you have right now, no one gets to inherit that from us when we are gone. But probably if we have raised people and then given them a particular authority, or would I say giving them a particular, more of like have this pass on baton kind of thing, whereby those people get to grow in our tutorship as well. They can also, to a great extent, get to inherit our influence if, we have also been putting them on the limelight as well. And this, bottles down to some things you have discussed here on the platform, like, some people leaving some ministries and it's becoming an issue because they got their influence or their relevance from here and all that. But looking at the case of Pastor Jimmy, now a lot of things have been going on about his dread, his personality, him being an actor and being a musician. So let me give you some background right here. And those of you that are members of the Fountain Church can also give me your thoughts on this, because I wouldn't say I know as an insider, but before I get to come out here to make videos or talk about things, I like to do my research and have my findings based on facts. And if you've been following me over time, here is facts over sentiments. Pastor Jimmy over the years has been at the same time juggling being a pastor, being a music artist.
Pastor himself, his love for rap music pushed him into becoming a rapper.
Yes, boss, call me boss man, but he's the boss of all bosses. I am. Yes.
I was watching this music video, and it was a secular music video, and it was very good. It was very catchy. It was interesting. It was attractive, and I thought to myself, this is great, but what is the gospel alternative? You tell us don't drink Coke, give us Pepsi. I look at this and it's very nice, but I look at the gospel representation and you see people in fields with palm tree, hallelujah. That's not going to catch our generation. So what spurred me is like, be the change you want to see. And so that's what spurred me to get into the Nigerian music industry and trying to make a difference.
Owning a record label, but had to leave that for a while. And also being an actor as well. Now, you are looking at him having his dread and all that, and you are saying, oh, how can a pastor got a dread and all? Those who are members of his church do accept him. Come on, this person here, Lovey, is God dreaded and tatted. Passion Java, I can give you many other examples even from those who are in the West. But where I found most interesting was him going into music. Look at his motivation here. This particular motivation right here reminds you of a video we discussed about. Remember the video we talked about the person of 𝐻𝐵 when he had to sing the Spyro song in church, but refixed it with the Christian lyrics when he was trying to explain a particular sermon. That particular video. Remember, he was criticized for that by someone that is from the Remnant clan. He also has been listening to secular songs, and that motivated him to do it in the Christian way because he wants to target young people. And when I made my video about the person of Rema, anyway, I don't blame some of you. You watch what you are interested in. That video, I took my time to explain to you the ideology behind Rema himself being a devil worshipper and all that. But right in that video as well, I got to tell you something, that the consumers of the secular artists are Christians, whether you like it or not. Okay, look at the fact now that we are talking about Mohbad. Some of you that never knew about the person of Mohbad know about him right now. Some of you as well probably had gotten to know about his song one way or the other. For me, I know that song. Oh my God, Papa, oh baby, your papa, and then 𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸 your moto, 𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸 your papa, 𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸 moto. I know the rhythm, I would say, and you. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a refix of that in the Christian way. But the point I'm trying to make you understand with this particular analogy is that you are in this world. There are some things that you just cannot prevent getting into your waves, except maybe you are not on social media at all. You shouldn't be watching me on YouTube because you shouldn't be on YouTube. You shouldn't be on Instagram following blogs and sites. You should just be either just following your church on your platform and then be cut off from every other thing. But for you to be in this world, there are some things you are by fact aware of, or you know about, or that have gotten into your waves or gotten to your attention one way or the other. That is where we have the system of the world, or the worldliness, and then also having the system, or would I say being in the spirit. But it depends on you letting the world affect you, or you transforming yourself by the world and not being controlled by the system of the world. So it's just about that. But all the same, humanity comes first before what makes me different from you. That is me talking about the person of Mohbad. So if you're asking for justice for Mohbad, I think that is a good thing. But back to the person of Jimmy Odukoya. A lot of conversations have been going on and saying that, oh, it's family business. Why can't no other person take over? Why is it that he has to take over? I want to ask you a question, my dear lovely friend, who is saying that in your mind. Is that your church? No, it's not your church. The church has no issue with it. The board of trustees have elected him, or he has been voted for. Even news has it that his father had talked to three board of trustees and told them who he wants to take over, which is the son, and they didn't even know about that themselves, like knowing each other. Not as if he called them and told them that. He told them separately. So even when they voted, they still voted for him. And this is what he had to say, because he said he got the mantle of his father. Listen to that.
I'll tell you a story. Right before my father would leave, as he was taking his last breath, the man must die empty. I take his hand, I put it on my head, and I say to him, pray for me, because see that mantle, I must receive it. So although on the outside it looks like nothing has changed, but on the inside, write this down. You cannot receive a mantle that you have not served. You notice the pattern. Joshua got it from Moses.
So even that itself makes a whole lot of sense. So he had also validated the fact that aside, even if he was not elected or chosen by the board of trustees, he himself received the mantle from his father when he laid hands on him. And the reason why this is happening, which you have to understand, is that this is a premise for you to understand as well. So those of you that are followers or members of any ministry, I don't want to hear news tomorrow, because right now I'm not hearing of any fracas inside the Fountain Church from maybe the leadership or something, that some leaders are fighting who should be the leader, who should not be the leader, based on how the church itself is run. Over in Africa, church is run differently from how it's maybe run in the West. And I've told you this right here many times. The way we run here is more like the pastor himself is the all in all. Everyone submits to them. It's different from how it is in the West, where there are but where there are board of directors and all that, and then the pastor himself can be sacked or removed and put here and all that. It's different from how it is in Africa. In Africa, it's more like a one-man show, and the authority of the head is what probably goes paramount. So the reason why I'm saying this right now is that even though if this was if there were fracas or arguments on the internet from the leadership of a church about him being the one to take over, then there would be a case for possible dragging on social media and deeper analysis. But when the church themselves are okay with him being the leader after the father, who is anyone on social media to complain? Because by now everyone should come to that understanding. Let's say, for example, in Winners Chapel, if tomorrow whatever happens, I'm not praying for that to happen, but life happens, I will always tell you guys, the next person that is going to take over is going to be the son. That's why if you look at right now how some churches are at the moment, especially for the older ones, like the mega churches, whereby, you know, their children are strategically positioned, especially when their children are also pastors and all that. They are positioned in strategic places whereby anything happens tomorrow, these ones are taken over, and they're groomed and prepared in their mind as well, whether they like it or not. And even some ministries, that's why if you're watching me and you are probably a mega pastor, or you are also a big pastor in that line, most of you as well, you might have to hand over or pass on the baton, like you see TD Jakes has been did recently and all that. Pass on the baton as well to your son while you are leaving, so that when you are not around, there will be no issues. So some of you would have to do that right now, so that before it gets to become a social media brouhaha or becomes a social media issue, there is someone already taking over. Everything has happened in your, like, while you are leaving. And some of you as well that might be having plans that, oh, probably if the general overseer is no more, I'm going to just take over the branch and then leave the church or something. Hey, you don't just inherit members like that. You understand? One thing you have to know, like I've always said here, and some of these pastors have made you understand, just like look at what Bishop is saying right here about the ministry of winners.
Somebody asked me, why is it that in your church they don't talk about, rapture? It's not that we don't believe it, but we are not sent to preach it. It's not everything you believe you preach. Everyone is assigned to a particular way, to a particular assignment. Why is it that we don't preach about hellfire? Don't we believe it? Believe it very well. Satan and all who follow him will go there. But we are not sent to preach it. Your message is your identity. Your message is your voice. Your message is your attraction. People come to listen to the message God has put in your mouth. Why do people travel all the way to come for this conference? Because God gave one man a message to preach. Why do people come to Faith Tabernacle Canaan Land here? Many people will travel from Europe, from America, arrive Saturday, attend service on Sunday, and Sunday evening they are on their way going back. Because there is a message that God put in the mouth of his servant for them. Somebody say loud, amen. Your message, your message, your purpose, your mission, everything must be well defined. That is the core for your focus. If you know what God has sent you to do and you focus on it, you will suffer the least of distraction. We all therefore have responsibility to go and sit down, find out what is the message, what is the assignment that God has given to me. Kenneth Hagin will not preach anything that is not related to faith. As far as Kenneth Hagin is concerned, when he meets you, you don't have faith. He must preach faith to you. When you meet with T.L. Osborne, as far as it's concerned, it's like you are not saved. You must receive salvation. Till his death, he was writing books on salvation. 100 reasons why you must give your life to Christ. You meet with a robot. Everyone he sees is like a sickly person. He must pray for you to be healed. Why? Overwhelmed with their message. To the point that everybody knows what the message. Now listen to me. If people around you don't know your message, perhaps you don't have a message. You must know it to a point that people around you know it. There are three core words that God's servant in the house received: the word of faith, the word of prosperity, the word of signs and wonders. You can't miss it. You step into this ministry, these three things are very evident. They are the areas, core areas where people's life are being transformed. Don't go for what is popular. When the message of prosperity started in this ministry through his servant, it was not as popular. It was abused by people. It was scorned by people. But today, it's a popular thing. You hear it everywhere. Stay in your calling. Number two, maintain boundaries and jurisdictions. Boundaries and jurisdictions. You need to draw the line. Places you must not go to. Messages you must not preach because you are not sent. Somebody asked me, why is it that in your church they don't talk about rapture? It's not that we don't believe it, but we are not sent to preach it. It's not everything you believe you preach. Everyone is assigned to a particular way, to a particular assignment. Why is it that we don't preach about hellfire? Don't we believe it? Believe it very well. Satan and all who follow him will go there. But we are not sent to preach it. God's servant some time ago went to Japan, and the need there was obvious. On his way coming back, he started drawing curriculum for Bible school. And when he arrived, God told him, even though there is a need in Japan, you are not the one I'm sending there. Jurisdiction. Jurisdiction. You are not sent to everywhere. You are sent to limited places. After Jesus provided food for people, 5,000 people, they came to make him king. He ran away from them. May you run away from what is not given to you.
That is what the ministry itself is called to do. So if you are part of the winners and then you are there always preaching about hell, this and this, hey, you are not tying to the vision or the mandate of a church. So you have to understand that when you are pastoring under a ministry, that ministry has an organogram you are following. You understand? So you are serving the vision of a man. Even though, yes, of course, you say you are called. If you were like that called or something, tomorrow, remember, you have targets you have to meet. You have, requirements. If you don't get to meet that, you'll be sacked. Am I lying? We have seen the examples here. I'm telling you facts right now. So you have to understand that while you are pastoring under a ministry, you are in the vision of that ministry. And whatever it is you are doing should not be out of the vision or the mandate that is on the head of that ministry, which then waters down to others. That's why you see that some ministries, they have a particular pattern as well. So you have to understand that for you as a member of a church, except you care so much about who is the one that is leading you or something, that is your business, okay? But if you care about, if you are in a church because you love the family of the leader or you love the particular pastor who is leading that particular church. Look at Pastor Sarah in Abuja, taking over from the husband. And she's pastoring the church very fine. That's why you shouldn't compare established churches like the Anglican, Catholic, Orthodox and all that. You shouldn't compare them with the Pentecostal churches like the one-man churches, because the system is quite different. Everyone is watching. At least for me, this is the first time I'm talking about him. I'm talking about this church because it's something in the news and I discuss about things that happen in church. But you yourself, tell me, be honest to yourself, if you ran a church, you were a pastor like many of the big names I've discussed right here on the platform, and then you were to leave this world, okay? Would you want your church, what you have started, to be carried on as a legacy by your own children? Or would you want it to be someone or other person who is probably maybe a senior in the ministry to take over? Tell yourself the honest truth. Come on, look at Archbishop Benson Idahosa. When he left, the son is also in the ministry as well, active. The wife is also in the ministry as well, active. You understand? Except maybe, but how can you be a pastor or a church leader and then probably there's no one in your family following in your footsteps? It will look a little bit weird, right? And if you are no more and then you were the general overseer who started or probably founded the church, it would be somehow weird that it doesn't continue in the family as well.